Hey, what's up everyone out there in Hot Vibes? In today's video I just want to talk about, being naked. And when I mean being naked, I don't mean actually, taking your clothes off and being naked. Although sometimes you may want to do that if you're in your own house and stuff like that, because there's, benefits to that. Cause, back in the day, we didn't wear as much clothes as we used to and things like that. And, there's certain like electromagnetic, benefits for doing that. But that's not what this video is about. The video is about, when I mean being naked, I mean, having no boundaries set up to the point, when you're coming to your spiritual family and stuff like that, where you're just sitting there, thinking that, everyone's out to get you and stuff like that. Because, back in the day, I guess I could go back on a little bit, our ancestors and stuff like that, like how today, people have all these different, programs to be like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, or you can't, if you see with like your shoes off or something, people think you're crazy. But, back then people were more naked. People did see, it's like you look in tribes and stuff like that, girls didn't wear bras and stuff like that. They may, just had like something to cover, their private parts, down below, and the whole tribe was okay with that. They weren't sitting there going, man, this is fucked up, this is crazy, because they weren't worried about that. The same thing goes with, when you're trying to talk to your spiritual family and stuff like that, or when you're trying to communicate, being that, person's like, hey, I got this problem and stuff, learning to communicate, not, having all these barriers like clothing on, because clothing's like a barrier and stuff like that, but also, can make you look good, can make you feel good sometimes, that's why we have it in the first place, because without it, things would be, pretty interesting. Who knows what it'd be like right now without clothing. Society would have developed a whole different way, but we have them here, but when you go into your spirit family, you just can't have all those barriers and those blockages and being like, yeah, I can't talk about this because I feel like they're gonna say something that that might hurt me or offend me, because I have these barriers and all these programs onto myself. But you gotta get rid of those programs. Sometimes you need to take off your shirt and be like, man, I need to get some of that soul up there, because like some people, they're like, man, I don't want to like even get any soul. They're like, I want to stay inside all day. It's like, no, dude, you need, or no girl, like you need to get like some, soul into your life. So what do you got to do? You got to get off the shirt, you got to take off the tank top, and then you got to peel back these layers of yourself, and basically, and so that way you can get to the core and be like, oh man, and eventually you get through the skin and then through all the blood and everything. I'm not saying actually go in there and dig inside yourself and things like that. This is all symbology. But once you get to the point, where are you getting at? Where are you going if you're taking all these different layers off yourself? And where does it lead to? It leads to your heart, because that's the final part that keeps everything alive. The thing that is your most precious part of your spirit, or whatever you want to call it, and things like that. Your heart is the symbology of real love inside yourself, and like that's where you should be going toward, inwards towards, and finding that love within inside your heart. Because a lot of people, they have all these different layers. Some people got sweatshirts on sweatshirts on sweatshirts on top of themselves, and you can see it as a symbology of like, they have all these different, programs onto themselves that makes them, be like, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. There's different fears, there's just different, all these different little programs that keep people, in a basically lower vibration. You need to be willing to get rid of those, extra sweaters that you put on yourself, basically, and let, get a nice like short sleeve and be like, man, this feels good, I got the wind blowing on my skin now, and that's the same thing with your program, basically, your own inner technology and stuff, and the things that you do. Say if like you never wanted to try tea before, and like you never tried it, and you're like, man, I don't want to try tea, and then you thought of all these different things, and you had all these different programs and these these thoughts that tea was bad and things like that. But then when you finally had tea, you're like, man, this shit is the best right here, like this tea right here, it's off the hook, basically. And you're like, and all because you finally took that chance to try it, and then you saw that it wasn't that bad, you're like, oh, okay, like this isn't bad. But you got to be careful. And another thing too, it's like who are you being like that naked symbolic reference to other people? It's like you don't want to just go tell people that are programmed the way you feel about certain things, because most likely, and this has happened to me before, where you tell somebody and they're like, man, that's stupid, and then all of a sudden you get hurt, because then that makes a program for yourself. You're like, man, I don't want to tell nobody now, because I've gotten hurt, because you've gotten spiritually hurt because of the fact that someone had said those things to you, basically. But this is all I want to really say in this video. I want to make a short little video about being naked, and how it can help you free up your life, and actually letting go of certain things can help you, allow new room for clothing. It's just like those people that store all the those hoarders and stuff, and like that's like a representation of people that hoard all these different programs and stuff like that. It's like then once you say if your house was hoarded, you know, you had boxes everywhere, and same thing goes with inside yourself. There's all these little boxes and stuff inside your reality that, you know, you have to get rid of, so that way you can free up the space, so you can see, you know, what needs to be rearranged, you know, where the couch needs to go, where, you know, the TV, you know, may go, so you can, you know, watch some of Reprogram the Matrix, you know, videos, or some of the, you know, some of the other CIT videos, and some of the Connects videos. You know, it's like you gotta clean up the clutter, so that way you can, you know, find that source of where, you know, the heart is at, and, you know, feel better and more freer, and have the time and, you know, the energy to be like, okay, you know, I got more time to do other things, because now my energy is not always focused on all these different little, you know, boxes and all this different stuff. You want to get rid of as many boxes as you can, because, you know, boxes are limitations, you know, and spirit is limitless. So when you get into that frequency, you see how it changes your life, basically. But, you know, I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. I'm gonna leave that, you know, ability to, you know, be more free, be more, you know, naked and stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but, you know, because everyone's like, man, being naked is kind of funny way to, you know, reference something, but it is true, you know, like being naked in your spirit, you know, because, you know, when you're in your spirit, you know, if you saw someone spiritually, you know, like, there is no barriers, you know, you see everything the way it is, because it's all energy and information. So, like, you know, here in the physical and mental, people have learned to put up those, you know, fake barriers and stuff like that. So, you know, when you become spiritual, there is no hiding, or, you know, because when you truly connect with something, with someone, and then on a spiritual level, there is no hiding anything anymore. There is no, like, oh, like, I'm trying to hide this, or you're trying to hide in a hermit crab shell. Like, there is no hiding, no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, there's no getting away from it. You can't be like, no, oh, I can't do it. Like, it's like, nah, you're gonna have to do it at some point. Like, you know, because that one way or another, we all have to leave this place. You know, even the agents have to deal with it at some point. No matter how much they hate it, you know, they could try to do whatever they got to do and stuff, but at one point they'll make it back to spirit too. Like, doesn't matter who you are out there, you know, we all make that journey back. You know, that's just the way things are. And you can't, some people want to control everything, but in reality you got to learn that you can't control everything. And that's like having, like, you know, a TV remote. You'd be like, you want to be in control all the time, but sometimes you gotta put down the remote and be like, you know what, I need to do something else. Got these two ducks, like, they just literally flew over there, but but anyways, you know, peace and out with my highest vibrations. Always my full love to those who are watching, and my gratitude to you all.